Hello, Gothamites. My name is Graham Elwood. You are watching the Political Vigilante. Great way to support the show is to go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood. But wait a minute. Some of you are aware of this. I have been paying attention to this. That Patreon has been deplatforming people, meaning basically they're just pulling people's platforms down. One of my Patreon tiers is to select a topic or an article for me to talk about. This was submitted by Faye Edelstein, so guess what? We're going to talk about this. Patreon deplatforms based on a bunch of double standards. And I'm going to go into this because I've been watching some videos and doing a little research on this. It's pretty awful. This is what Faye's email was to me. Hey, Graham, my topic is this month I will close my Patreon account due to their censorship policies. I do not agree with those being banned. Recently, Sargon of Akkad and Milo. But I thoroughly object to deplatforming people on their views or what they say. While there are a few reasons to censor, threats of violence, etc., the censorship I am speaking here is purely ideological, and I cannot tolerate it unless Patreon backs down. I will be unsubscribed by the end of the month. Well, Faye, I totally understand this, and I get it. I mean, as a guy that needs Patreon to survive, I don't want to see anybody go, but I understand it. So first I want to get into this, what has happened for those of you who don't know. So Sargon of Akkad, I never really watched this guy that much. Basically what happened was he was a guest on somebody else's podcast, and he's had a lot of attacks earlier in the year, mainly from the alt-right. And what he did was he referred to them using the N-word. And so so he's a white guy, and he's calling other white guys the N-word. And I see the point that he was trying to make. Like, the alt-right people use all this racist stuff. They say all these racist terms, so he threw their racist words back at them. Now, I personally don't think a white guy calling a Nazi the N-word is racist, but that's not the point. You might be going, no, Graham, he shouldn't be able to do that. You know, white people shouldn't be saying that word in public to anybody. It's offensive. And if that's what you believe, great. That's not what I'm here to discuss or debate even. The real debate here is Patreon's policy guidelines. And there's an interview that Sam Rubin does with the CEO of Patreon. First of all, Patreon released a video. The CEO, he's this guy with a beard. He's a hipster, Silicon Valley, craft brew drinking guy, But they're just, these tech billionaires are doing censorship because here's what their guidelines were. You can't put offensive stuff on Patreon. Okay, so I got this Sargon guy, he didn't say that on his Patreon page. He was a guest on somebody else's like YouTube channel or their live stream or something. It wasn't even on their Patreon page. And in the interview with Sam Rubin, he says, I don't, and I'll put the link to this, to basically Sargon of Akkad's, his response to this. And it's a 30-minute video, and he goes through very specific detail. And I watched that and went, wow, it's kind of hard to argue this. And he shows the CEO says in the interview and points to the guidelines that are in writing on Patreon's page saying, we're only what you put on Patreon. And then he says in the interview, so if you put something on offensive on Twitter or whatever, we have no say in that. So then they deplatform this guy. And it's kind of crazy that they've gone after some right-wing people. Now, I don't think this Sargon guy's right-wing. He was really going after alt-right people. And, he shows clip of the Chapo Trap, one of the Chapo Trap House guys saying, if you think the Democratic Party can be reformed, kill yourself and everyone around you. That's a pretty stark way to say, I don't know that the Democratic Party can be reform, but I'm not telling anybody to go kill themselves. But let's be clear. I've gotten mad with the gun issue, and I've said, if you're a big gun owner, why don't you blow your head off? The world will be a better place. I've said that. Do I get deplatformed for saying that? For quoting something that George Harrison said? I mean, so I agree with Faye Edelstein, who's been a longtime supporter of this show. And I respect this stance. I really do. And, you know, I'm really tired of Silicon Valley billionaires dictating First Amendment rights. I mean, the Sargon guy, he's got hundreds of, like 800,000 subscribers. I can only imagine how much money he was pulling in from his Patreon page. You're affecting somebody's, I think he makes somewhere in the neighborhood of $150,000 a year off of Patreon. That's a significant income to just pull away from somebody. And then it's not even like if he's going on Patreon saying hate speech, okay, I get it. But he didn't, that's it. That's the end of the debate as far as I'm concerned. He didn't violate. You're just waving this arbitrary wand. I mean, this is like what YouTube has done. They've demonetized myself, Jimmy Dore, Kyle Kalinske, and then they'll have right-wing bullshit on there. They'll have CRTV on there saying whatever. They should be allowed to say that. Like I've said this before, I don't like Alex Jones. I think he's nuts. I think he's offensive. I think he's done really reprehensible things. But if we're telling him he can't talk, and look what happened. We talked about this when it happened months ago. Oh, they said they're going after the hate speech people. Then all of a sudden they're taking out Think Progress, and all these anti-war platforms got pulled from Facebook and all this stuff. Look what happened to Abby Martin. I mean, they can manipulate the thing, whatever they say. These people protesting. There's a pipeline in Louisiana. They're calling them terrorists, environmental terrorists. They get slapped. The terrorist thing. Red Fawn Fallis is still in jail from wanting her water and those of others' water on the Standing Rock Reservation to not be contaminated. The Dakota Access Pipeline has already leaked. You might be like, Graham, you're going way off track here. No, I am not. They can manipulate, the ruling class can manipulate and change things in whatever way they see fit. Whatever way they see fit. The majority of my videos, the bonus videos that I put on my Patreon page, are usually about war because I know they're going to get demonetized. How many videos have I done about Yemen, the Saudi Arabia, Israel, calling out the war machine, calling out the American military-industrial complex? So one of them is, I've done videos that are critical of the Israeli government. All they got to do, oh, Graham's an anti-Semite, and I'm out. I'm labeled as an anti-Semite. All these Zionist groups come at me, call me a Nazi, just because I said I don't think it's fair what the Israeli government is doing. Do you see the slippery slope around here? So look, man, I said this before with and I'm going to put this right up here right now. So there is my Subscribe Star page. Okay? My profile is under review. It just started, but they won't let me post anything yet. So there's a basic subscription level, and I just made it $4. And with that, you get bonus video. I'm getting rid of the $1 and the $2 tier. I'm taking the $5 bonus audio tier, and I'm making it $4. And then I've added the bonus video tier and for $10 and the Skype tier for $25, because you know, people like those tiers, and this, and the $5 submitted a topic, which is what Faye Edelstein was doing. So guys, go to subscribestar.com/Graham Elwood. I'll put it in the show notes. If you don't want to support Patreon, I'll leave the Patreon page open. If some of you don't have a problem with this, but I started this because I was like, oh, it's a matter. Patreon can just pull the rug out from underneath me now. You know? All it takes, look, they're tech. I mean, I thought, look, all it takes is the Koch brothers to buy them, or you know, Boeing buys them, or a former CIA desk clerk takes over Patreon, and I'm out, man. Jimmy's out. They're just sticking it to us at every turn. YouTube was set up like. So, Faye, thank you so much for bringing this, you know, more of the details of this to my attention. And I respect you sticking to your guns, man. I got rid of my Amazon affiliate link, and I was making a little bit of money from that every month, but I don't make any because I got rid of that link, because I'm glad Amazon has upped their wages to $15 an hour, which I ask you guys, is that enough helping of their workers for me to put the Amazon link back, my affiliate link back up? If it's not, I don't know. Me, I feel like he needs to unionize. When Jeff Bezos lets his employees unionize, then maybe I'll support Amazon again. But so if you want, go to Subscribestar. I'll start propagating this with stuff, and I don't know if this platform, if you guys like this better, and it looks like the percentages are cheaper than Patreon. Takes 10%. Looks like they're more about 5 or 6% from what I can gather. PayPal pulled from here. PayPal didn't want to be involved with them. So I don't know. It's wild times, man. I'm just trying to get paid to do this so I can bring you these stories. You know, the channel's been growing. It's been great. I've had a bunch of videos in the last week or two that have gotten thousands of views. And you guys are awesome. And the live streams and the super chat is fantastic. But I know this is like at every turn, I'm just like, how am I supposed to keep doing this if they hurt our money at every turn? So, Faye, thank you so much for supporting the show. And I hope you're my first subscriber. Thanks for watching. Patreon.com/Graham Elwood. Subscribestar.com/Graham Elwood. Go to GrahamElwood.com for the Progressive Comedy Tour. Thank you guys so much, because you know what you're doing. Whoops. Whatever. Had a little tech problem. You guys are making Gotham great again. Thank you so much.